Oh, for sure. All right, here we go. Got almost nothing next to the neutral colony this time. Just one lonely little water tile that's going to be uninteresting. Zap's gone ahead and scouted far to the north, found some aluminum, water, silicon, just a nice solid mix of resources with a large amount of silicon. Large amount of carbon. Two high tiles right next to each other. That's going to be very nice for his scavenger. Soren, on the other hand, finding a very nice, potentially scientific spot with a lot of silicon and steel available nearby. Both of them going to be rushing out to this aluminum tile, probably. Whoa. Alright. I assume you had to load up my stream in order to,
yes, to be
get
able
what's
to
going on. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's alright. I think both of them going for the medium aluminum tile, but Zap going to be taking that one, as he did found much, much sooner, and they were both about the same distance away from it, so Soren's going to have to decide what to do with that last claim. Wouldn't be surprised to have it go on to the aluminum just west of Zap's aluminum tile, but he hasn't actually used it yet, so I'm a little concerned about that. He may not have noticed that he didn't actually get the aluminum he was expecting. There it goes.
The captain or Zap?
The captain, Soren, in this case. Zap looks like he's just going to try and secure some more high-value tiles, just shore up his aluminum production, get the really nice high silicon tile for himself, and he's used up all his claims. I think I should see one more. Took the geotherm right next to his base. Of course, makes perfect sense. So he's just securing some very, very high-value tiles across the map with his level 2 HQ. Exactly the kind of thing we would expect to see out of Zap.
He's very, very fast. I'm glad that there's plenty of water for Soren to found some of it.
Oh, that was almost a major problem. Okay, pirate auction going on right now. I think Soren was tempted to kind of let this one go, and maybe hoping to trick Zap into thinking these are more valuable than they are, as Soren's steel currently is not connected to his base, but he's going to be claiming a tile right next to his base momentarily and connecting the pirates. I'm very concerned that he already did that after giving Zap the pirates. Could have maybe tricked Zap into placing his pirates a little less effectively and then connecting his steel to his headquarters. But Zap, a very strong player, might have expected that anyway, so who knows if it would have been worth the wait. Got another steel mill coming down for Soren. He is certainly a believer in the steel mill triangle for Scientific. Can't blame him for that one. And we're actually going to see a fourth steel mill. Not ideally positioned, potentially, in my opinion, for adjacency bonuses. Could have certainly put that somewhere else, but might be planning to simply scrap it later, and so not really caring too much about his current adjacency issues. We're also going to see Soren using his last level 2 claim, possibly even the one to purchase one up.
What is he pirating?
There, in order to secure some water. We've got pirates on top of the aluminum, pretty much exactly what you would expect to see right now. Aluminum, a fairly valuable resource, always nice when you can take it away from your opponent at this stage of the game. Pretty much no matter who you are or they are, so that's not a big surprise at all. Ooh, actually a power surge from Soren going down on Zap's carbon. Not sure how I feel about that. Zap already has all he's going to need to upgrade for the moment with 8 left over. He might have some trouble getting his buildings down in the short term, so that could be a very nice use of this power surge, but I'm not sure exactly how much impact it's actually going to have, considering Zap likely just has the funds to go ahead and buy the carbon he needs short term.
Soren is going to need to go into life support very soon. They're starting to climb up.
He's got that reactor down, so that's going to be very nice for him. Once he has his aluminum production back, he'll be able to use that for some money as well. But Zap himself going ahead and moving into glass and water is what it's going to look at like. Glass already valued at $90. Not going to affect Soren too much in the short term if that goes too much higher, because he does have the 40 glass saved up he's going to need for an upgrade. Which is a fantastic play by him, but he will need to make use of these reactors, I think. Get a few more down in order to start making a decent amount of money and stay in this game. Zap's patent lab has been working super hard since he put it down. He's just headed for superconductor. Shouldn't be any surprise whatsoever with that geotherm adjacent to his headquarters, and that's going to be giving him 4 power a second, basically making power a non-issue for him for possibly the remainder of the game. Second pirate auction coming out. This one, not really sure where it's going to go. There is some potentially quite interesting places to put this game. Carbon, because of the early power surge, has actually been made quite valuable. Carbon's been made quite valuable, so Soren could easily pirate that if he wanted to, just to try and strangle Zap out of it even more. Could be a bit of an interesting play. Silicon's available, not too expensive. Water's available, reasonable price on that. But these pirates, man, 16,000. I think Soren's going to let that go, and Zap's going to take him for 16. Zap possibly showing how unconcerned he is about debt with access to such a massive geotherm.
Pirates. I hate those filthy bandits.
And Soren is simply going to have, it looks like, his fuel and oxygen pirated away by Zap. Seems a reasonable move. Zap, alright, he's still selling off this power. He has so much power going on that even with power only at $62 a second right now, or $62 per unit, he's actually making almost $180 off of his power surplus he has going on. Wow, and actually, teleportation going to be the next thing Zap is after. One thing I'm very concerned about for him is the fact that he hadn't actually purchased a Goon Squad until just that moment. And Soren would have been able to see that. It's unfortunate that he was not able to use the black market to respond to it in any way. Soren, alright. He got down a little bit of silicon production. Some silicon quarries, while silicon was a bit more valuable, and then transitioned into glass as fast as he could. Not as much glass production as Zap's, though, so I'm having trouble finding where Soren's edge exists this game. He's just having a lot of trouble finding something to actually hit back against Zap, who got off to such a great start with these fantastic carbon tiles, and carbon has become so expensive, he'll be able to make use of them for quite some time. Well, here comes more fuel and oxygen. This could actually be pretty huge, this game. This is a good chunk of money floating in. Probably about $7,000 worth of resources. About to try and get past these pirates. Could swing the game pretty heavily. Either way, depending on who actually gets a hold of these. So we'll go ahead and watch for that for a moment. Then we can go take a look at what Zap's up to. Both things get taken away from the captain. That is just money in Zap's pocket if he wants it. That's going to be fantastic for him. Those pirates certainly are working out quite well. Zap actually choosing to move into pretty much all of the resources that Soren is going to be able to make and just simply do it better. He has farms down. He has reactors down. He has glass furnaces down. And Soren, he would be relying very, very heavily on things like water being expensive and silicon being expensive. That is probably his sole edge this game, is that Zap has committed so hard into production that he has not been able to effectively protect his basic resource collection. So that is going to drive those prices pretty high, and Soren might be able to take advantage of it through simply not having to spend as much.
1,000, 8,000, 9,000.
Leave me.
Well, 9,000 for that one. Shouldn't be too big a surprise. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that could have gone a lot higher. I'll be honest. Like, both players, similar amounts of debt. Zap doing a better job fighting it off than Soren is, but Pirates, again, for so little. It's just, I have a feeling this is really strangling Soren out of the game. He's been hit by 3 pirates so far. In total, that's going to be 600 resources that have been quite valuable at the times they've been getting stolen.
I wonder why he's letting go of the pirates.
Yeah, I don't really know why Soren would be letting go of the pirates so cheaply. He may not... I think that the possible reason that Soren could let it go is that Patent Lab had been running for quite some time. Soren would have known that. Soren would have seen, hey, that Patent Lab's been going for a super long time. The only really reasonable thing for him to be taking after that long could have been the teleportation. And Soren might have been thinking, I can't get any benefit off of these. All I can do is keep him from getting something out of them. And so maybe not wanting to risk pushing it quite so high. On top of that, Soren's stock price, very low compared to Zap's. He could have been worried about even just 10,000 more debt being added. I'm very concerned that Soren still has 2 claims he hasn't actually decided what to do with. What I would love to see is something more like Zap. Zap hit level 5 and threw down 4 claims immediately. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, with that upgrade, and he was using it to get to a very particular goal. Only one claim left over for him to decide with. So he used a lot of them very, very quickly. Soren has finally decided on his claims, but he's just going for the obvious decision of reactors, so I don't know what took him that long. Also, it looks like we might have, yeah, both players going after each other. We've got a power surge onto Zap's electronics. That should be fairly effective. Electronics quite expensive at this stage of the game, whereas Soren had an EMP down onto his power. Zap possibly just trying to drive that debt higher and higher and make that buyout pretty easy. Soren's actually going to go ahead and commit enough resources to buy up 4 of his own stock. That's quite a defensive play. Not really the sign of a player that's confident with the direction this game is going. On top of that, Zap, he is just about to finish up Perpetual Motion. That is so much power available to him off this single geotherm plus 1 solar panel. He is generating a surplus of 5.2 power a second, giving him $500 a second off of his debt from that, and his hacker ray is going to be shorting carbon, already insanely expensive. A fantastic play after his electronics get power surged, and he's going to be able to make a lot of money just off of very, very, very small numbers of tiles. You can really see the strength of Zap shining through. What's up?
Why is Zap not connecting his electronics to his building? I mean, I know he's not worried about pirates, but it still has a benefit to be connected.
That is a good question. I think it mostly comes down to the fact that Zap, he might be quite worried about black market. Soren has shown a complete willingness to use black market against him, right? He has no qualms whatsoever, even as a scientific player with maybe a little bit less access to black market than Zap has. Soren has very, very clearly shown that he is willing to attack and attack and attack and attack and attack. And so Zap, he's not going to be in too much of a worried position right now, right? He has the stock advantage. He has the claims advantage. He realistically has the resources advantage. He's been getting more of an advantage off those auctions. And so he may just be in such a state of unconcern that he's sitting here going, as long as you can't hit me too hard with black market, I'll be able to just coast to victory in this one. So he can separate his electronics. They're only a short distance from his base. A very short send if he decides he needs those resources. And it's just a little bit of extra insulation.
He's being defensive and offensive at the same time.
Soren just buying up more and more and more of his stock. He's kind of let power get away from him this game. Those EMPs been hitting pretty hard, and with no life support, no access to water, no access to food all game, his debt has just skyrocketed to $142,000. His stock price, despite owning most of it, just sunk below $3. And these pirates are just strangling him from so much money. He can't upgrade, he can't expand, he can't do anything. Zap's just going to take it on the carbon short. GG.
It is. Well played.
Yep. Well played by Zap. Very simple and straightforward game. Captain, debt killed him. That's really all there is to it, I think. His stock price was just so low, he never got anything done. And those pirates, I don't know. Those, letting all of them go away like that.
He let go of the pirates.
Yeah.
For cheap. I mean, they're going to be used against him, so he might have.
And Zap came through with just a very basic, simple play for the finishing blow, and because that's all he needed to concern himself with, right? He did so much development of his resources, and then it kind of just turned into a very simple, well, I guess you don't have carbon, and carbon costs a lot of money, so I'm just going to buy you now because you died on power. And that was pretty good from Zap. He obviously sold a ridiculous amount of power, not having to buy very much at all. Most of that honestly went into just paying off his auctions. But still, that was worth it. He got that fuel. He got that oxygen away from Soren. He got the aluminum away when it was all important. Generally, everything was used very, very well.
Soren did not show up. I think that what he wants to do probably continue. Yeah, I don't think he really wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I can understand
I don't know. I just know him enough.
No, I think we should just coast on through that one. Zap, you can also tell, feeling very safe and secure pretty much that entire game. All of his black market, okay, like 3/4 of his black market was just in very basic kind of defensive or growth-based purchases, right? 3 new claims and 3 goon squads. That shows somebody who thinks he doesn't really need to interfere with his opponent too much more than he's already done with those pirates, and just wants to keep building himself up and up and up until he has the win.